We're going to overtime today on Locked On NBA. Which teams are likely to hit their over? Which one ring or less star gets multiple championships with their franchise first? Shai and Jokic have a head start, but Luka looms large in LA. Plus, we continue our tournament of moves with MJ's Fadeaway, Tim Duncan's trip to the bank, and some white chocolate sauce. That's all today on Locked On NBA.
You are Locked On NBA, your daily NBA podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On NBA. Thanks so much for making us your first listen of the day. We are free. We are available wherever you get your podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. I'm Doug Branson, host of Locked On Hornets and your Shot Clock Sherpa, guiding you through the NBA's biggest stories every day with the help of Locked On's local experts. And I have two of the best with me, as always, from the Locked On Nuggets podcast. He's a senior NBA writer for the Action Network. It's Matt Moore. Matt.
Unfortunately, we are not ready to release the new album when that's coming out today on the show. So I apologize for not having that ready. I know that's been popular on podcasts, so I apologize for not having the album ready to drop.
Yeah, ours is coming on the 13th. It's very
the life of a podcaster is actually what it's called.
And for the Locked On Bulls podcast, he's also a Bears and Bulls creator for Bleacher Report. It's Haize. Haize.
NBA 2K is coming out, and once again, they're trying to sell us on the same game for now the 5th year in a row. And we're still going to buy it.
I was going to say, guess what? You're going to buy it, and you're going to like it. All right, there is a lot of over-under talk today on the network. Let's get to it. Later on in the show, we will continue our tournament of moves. We've got some exciting first-round matchups that I can't wait to dive into, but let's do some over-under talk first. Locked On Blazers and Locked On Raptors believe their teams are tryhards this year, and they can hit their overs. We'll get to them in a moment. But Locked On Thunder today discussed the odds of SGA and company doing something very rare in today's NBA game. That's getting over one championship. Let's take a listen.
I think it's a parity era in the NBA, largely because of what you're seeing in the West right now. There is no easy path anymore. I mean, you can really paint a picture today, Brandon, that sees the Thunder and their quest to repeat going through Dallas and Denver and Houston. Like, that would be an exceptionally hard path to repeat. And that's where I think that you get into how hard it is to repeat nowadays, is that the rest of the league has caught up to the top. It's kind of flattened out a little bit where every team feels like it's legitimately good.
This was the best team. And going into the next season, despite the additions from the Rockets and the Nuggets and the Clippers, this is still the best team. At full strength, full health, this team is only going to get better. It's hard to pick anybody else but the Thunder winning it all if this team stays healthy going into next season and into the playoffs.
Okay, some good conversation there if you want to check out the entire episode. So certainly Oklahoma City fans, they would love to repeat. You've got the Lakers trying to build something with Luka Doncic over the next 5, 6, 7 years. They would certainly like to add multiple championships to their already pretty stuffed trophy room. Matt, Lakers with Luka over one championship, or Oklahoma City with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander over one championship? What's more likely to hit the over in your mind over the next 5 or 6 years?
I think the easy take is OKC, because we all do this after somebody wins a championship, where we're like, how could they not? We did it with the Celtics. We did it with the Nuggets. We just keep doing this. And I'm like, you're going to show me. And you have to show me that you can do this in this era. And the other thing here, I think, is, the Locked On Thunder, they're only going to get better, really, because your defense was like 17 times better than everybody else last season. And those types of performances are not sticky. They're just not. And your offense was good, but not top 1 or 2, which is what it takes to be able to compete at that kind of level. Like, how you're going to get better, maybe, but you're not going to be as lucky. Meanwhile, with the Lakers, they're going to get another star, man. I've just been doing this a long enough time. Someone else is going to be like, I want a bigger market. I want more star power. I want to live in LA. I want that nice house on the beach. And they're going to wind up there. He's going to get some elite defender next to him, a wing, probably a third guy who's like a shooter wing type. and they're going to be in contention every single year. I understand the idea with OKC. It looks right now like it's super replicable, like it's super sustainable, but that's not how sports works. That's not how the NBA has worked recently. So I'll take the Lakers 1.5 over.
Repeating is such a hard thing because, or just winning another title, like, because you need so many things to crack right for you. And that doesn't mean it's just like luck does play a part into it, but you need the right matchups. We've seen how much matchups can cause an issue for teams. So just, assuming that OKC Thunder are just going to get a little bit better. Hold on to that clip. That may be the clip that we use for the downfall of the Thunder in the 2025-26 season to open that. But I will say that the safe bet here is OKC over one championship with Shai. Like, they are really, really good. They're still really, really young. They're still stacked with draft assets. Like, all these things are in place for them to continue being a safe bet on winning another title eventually. Like, I mean, let's just look at it. They have now, they're already the replacement for Isaiah Hartenstein, potentially on the roster with Thomas Sorber if they develop him. And they can let Isaiah Hartenstein walk at the end of his contract and have a guy that's just there ready to go to play a similar role. So, like, that's how the OKC Thunder could be set up for the next few years. And so, yeah, it's a safe bet to bet on the Thunder to win over one more championship over this time. But listen, the Lakers are the Lakers, and they have proven that as long as you have a star, you already have the destination. There's always going to be somebody who's willing to come to the Lakers per match point, but I'll still bet on the Thunder in this one.
What I think is interesting is we run into this problem of the most logical versus the most predictable, because in sports and in the NBA, those two things are not the same. The most logical outcome isn't what happens year after year after year. And we've seen other teams in this similar type of situation. And I'm just really reticent ever to say that the predictable outcome is going to occur. On the other end of this is if we look back through the course of NBA history, how many times we do have a lot of repeat champions. We have it in this stretch, but Warriors rattle them off between 2015 and 2018. The Heat grabbed 3 straight finals. The Lakers, 3 straight finals. The Lakers in the 2000s, right? We have this history of the sport itself and the league being, you can construct these kind of things, but we're in a different moment. And I'm not sure that I look at this Thunder team and just go, man, they're just overwhelming. J-Dub's awesome. Chet's great. Shai's excellent. Shai's an MVP. But like, I do not currently look at these guys and be like, I am overwhelmed by their talent. I'm just not.
Very quickly, an additional question kind of in line with this conversation. Which current star do you think right now that has 1 or less rings gets to 2 titles first? So Jokic has 1, you throw Tatum in there. Which one of these stars do you think gets to 2 first? Haize.
I still think Shai's probably the safe bet there, mainly because Tatum isn't healthy, and we could see that could be a slow return back. We don't know the state of the Celtics. Jokic is another safe bet there. I still really like this Nuggets team. I love what the offseason that they've done. There's a question about the new coach there and how that's going to look like over the course of a full season, just because we haven't seen it. But I'd still probably take Shai there. It's probably the best bet there with how the Thunder are set up.
Jokic, I think, is probably a pretty smart answer here. Like, I dabble with the idea of Victor Wembanyama, but with it being a race, that's tough with Shai already being up 1. The other one I want to kind of go to, though, is like, what about Donovan Mitchell? It's like, what? Look at the East, man. Boston just changed hands this morning. Their governor is no longer going to be their governor. Wyc Grousbeck was supposed to stay on until 2028. That's gone. I don't trust new ownership groups. You have to prove to me you're a good owner. So, like, if the East continues to just fall apart, what if there's a power in the East that rises that's just able to knock out finals appearances every year because nobody else can get there? On the other end of that, you might wind up as the New Jersey Nets from the early 2000s, where it's like, hey, you made the finals again, and you got killed again. So that's the downside of that.
The East is in a little bit of chaos, and that's a perfect opportunity for a team that is trying hard when maybe they shouldn't be or aren't supposed to be, like the Toronto Raptors. Let's check in with some more team over talk. We got Locked On Blazers and Locked On Raptors. If you're watching on YouTube, you'll see a familiar face on the Locked On Raptors podcast. Both of them feel like the teams that they covered are going for it and can get there. You'll hear first from Locked On Blazers guest Brandon Sprague and then Sean Woodley of Locked On Raptors.
38.5 wins, over under.
I don't have a lot of faith in New Orleans. I have no faith in Utah. I think Sacramento's going to end up selling and kind of blowing it up and restarting. And I think there's going to be 1 or 2 more teams in there that are going to suffer injury. And I think what you just hit on is exactly why I'm taking the over The NBA is a lot of who gives a damn on a Tuesday in January, and I think this team will. So I think they're going to get 39.
And I just think if you get so quickly averaged 73 games played in the first 4 or 5 years of his career before 4 years of his career before last year. If he gets to 65 games this coming season, which I don't think is unrealistic, I think last year is probably the anomaly with the strange freak injuries that happened. Plus you conservatively get 50 from Brandon Ingram. Then you bake in the internal growth from Grady Dick or Jacoby Walter or, Colin Murray-Boyles, I think, has a chance to be like an impact defender from day one. Offensively, we'll see, but the defense with that dude is real. I just don't see how that's not worth 7 wins over what last year's team was.
Okay, more likely to over Team Try Hard Portland Trailblazers or Team Try Hard Toronto Raptors. Matt, you say?
I think the over is the number of blue shirts that I wear. That was on a completely different day, and I'm wearing the exact same shirt today. I'll take Blazers here. I have them both going under. I was on that episode with Sean, and it's very Sean to be like trying hard and like that. The two clips kind of work in tandem there, right? Because like who tries hard, and no one tries harder than those Toronto, or at least Sean wishes that they would try that hard. The Who's down in Whoville, as I call Raptors fans, they're always singing. I'll take the Blazers. I think Shaedon Sharpe, Scoot Henderson, they've got so much opportunity for somebody to make a leap. Hansen Yang, if they're able to get 1 or 2 guys to take a jump and then they can figure out some offense, plus the trade capacities there, I just think that Portland actually has a better formula kind of in place. I'm still very skeptical of like, what does Brandon Ingram, Scotty Barnes look like? Does RJ Barrett get lost in the wash? Isaiah, can Emmanuel quickly stay healthy? The young guys, can they take a step forward? I love a lot of the guys on the Raptors roster. I don't love them together, so I'll take the Blazers.
It's amazing how Sean every year is just so confident about the Raptors. I remember we were doing the Eastern Conference preview show last year, and it was teams that were expected to be outside the playoffs, and his exact quote was, "I don't know why I'm here." How did that work out for you last year, Sean? With that said, I picked the Blazers here too. There's something about this Blazers team on top of coaching, what they've added to this team as well. Like they just seem like the team that's going to be an overachiever this year. The Toronto Raptors are a solid team enough. Like make no mistake about it. I like parts of their team as well, but it's just something with the Raptors team just still feels like it's missing. Not to say that the Blazers aren't missing something too. I just think that I'm more ready to trust the Blazers to go over their win prediction, especially because it's lower than the Toronto Raptors to be over theirs.
And as Sean alluded, there's so much hinges on the health of Brandon Ingram. All right, let us know what you think on YouTube, youtube.com/@LockedOnNBA. I'm curious about a couple of other overs and over-unders. We'll get to those coming up. Plus, we dig into our tournament of moves, first-round matchups, 2 versus 15, 7 versus 10. That's all coming up on Locked On NBA. Stick with us. Today's episode of Locked On NBA is brought to you by our friends at Game Time. We've all been there, waiting forever for those concert tickets to finally go on sale, only to miss out on the show that you've been dying to see. Buying tickets should not be stressful. That's where Game Time comes in. Game Time makes getting concert tickets fast, easy, and affordable. Prices actually drop the closer it gets to showtime, and you can save up to 60% with their last-minute deals. Plus, they've got zone deals that pick the best seats in your section for you. No more endless scrolling. You'll even get a panoramic seat view before you buy, so you know exactly what you're getting. And the best part, the price you see is the price you pay. No hidden fees. Take the guesswork out of buying concert and sports tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app today, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. More Locked On NBA ahead. Thanks again for making Locked On NBA your first listen every day. I've got a few more over-unders here that I want to do. Let's start with an oldies category. You've got the Philadelphia 76ers. Right now, FanDuel has them with a 41.5 win total. Clippers with a 49.5 win total. Haize, which of these teams do you like more for the over when it comes to the geriatric division of the NBA?
Oh man, that's a great question. I'd say the Clippers here. I like as much
50
as
win,
I'm
50
not a
win
Clippers
team
guy.
Clippers. Yeah, 50 wins.
Yeah, I think I can see the Clippers winning 50 games, and I think they're going to win a lot of regular season games. I don't know how much playoff success they are, but I do think the Clippers are going to win a lot of regular season games. I could see them winning 50 games this season in the West.
The Sixers can't be here. You can never ask are the Sixers going over? It's not fair. It's, hey, are you going to get hit by lightning today? Probably not. Could happen. Right? I have the Clippers. Oh, let me cough here. 57 wins. That's 57 wins is what I have them. I know, Haize. I know. Look, they were projected for basically to be a 50-win team last year based on their numbers, and then they added guys like Brook Lopez. They got Bradley Beal for nothing. They got Chris Paul for nothing. So when you add guys who are at least production-wise impactful without any sort of trade-off, the only guy they lost was Norman Powell, right? They had John Collins. They added 4 NBA players and lost 1. That's really significant here. Now, I don't trust Kawhi Leonard as either to stay healthy or to be a leader for this team. I don't trust James Harden as it's constantly James Harden's got to step up. Where's Kawhi? But this team's still really good. I think they can win 57 games this season.
I don't know if you saw the interview with Bradley Beal from a local LA news station, but they were basically like, Bradley, you're in LA. How do you feel? He's like, I want a ring. It's like, it wasn't even the question I asked, but okay, great. You want a ring. I mean, a motivated Beal, in the right situation, feeling better about himself and his situation and his game. I don't know. Maybe that's worth 7.5+ wins. All right. Very quickly, broken teams, Boston at 42.5 or Indiana at 38.5. Matt, what's the safer over?
Oh, that's a good one. I'll go Indiana just because I think people are too down on Boston right now. There's some folks that think that they're going to be like a lottery squad. I'm like, guys, I don't understand why you think that. They've still got a lot of talent and system there. But when you go through Indiana and you go through, all right, starting lineup is like Nembhard, Mathurin, Neesmith, Siakam, and then at center. The first 4 are excellent. That's 4 playoff level great players. So I'll go with the Pacers here, but I think both are going over.
Haize.
Ooh, calling them all great on the Pacers is it's a bit of a stretch there, but I'm going to bet Boston mainly just because there's still great coaching there. They still have great offense there. Yes, their defense is going to take a bit of a hit, but I still think that they're still going to be able to shoot a lot of teams out the gym. I think we're going to see a really big season from Jaylen Brown as well this year. I'll take Boston to go over 42.5 wins on this one.
Okay, let's move on to our tournament of moves. We've got 32 signature NBA moves over the course of NBA history, and we are counting them down tournament style. We've got a 2 versus 15 matchup to start. It's Magic Johnson's Showtime no-look pass versus another famous pass, the Kevin Love full court outlet pass as the 15 seed. You voted on YouTube, and the no-look pass from Magic, no surprise here, overwhelming win, 81-19. But the way this tournament works, it's not just up to the fans, it's up to Matt and Haize as well. So Haize, let's start with you. When you look at this matchup between Magic Johnson's no-look and Love's full court outlet, how do you view it?
It's Magic's no-look, and it's pretty easily. Not only did Magic's no-look pass signify a whole play style that electrified the NBA at that time, it's the prettier move. It's from the better player as well in Magic Johnson. Make no mistake, a full court pass is beautiful to see. I think we see it a lot from Jokic. I still don't think we see the no look pass the same way that Magic had the effectiveness of it or the frequency in today's NBA, even though we see it more than what we did back then. So I'll pick Magic here. It's so much story into that. He's won titles doing it. I'll pick Magic's no look pass here.
Some of these are just kind of turn into popularity contests, which I think Rockets fans were right to complain about the Steph matchup yesterday. I think Magic's no look is a little overrated. It's a little overrated, Haize. Go back and watch some of these clips because I got them up right now on the second monitor. And a lot of these are transition plays where he's running diagonally out of bounds so that he can throw the no look pass. He's not running anywhere. It's just hey, look over there. as he passes to the place where the defenders are going, they're just behind him. But some of these passes are also disgusting. And the other thing here that makes this really tough is the placement. Like Love and Magic, both the ability to place the ball on these difficult passes. We marvel at the ability just to complete passes. We don't ever go back and really look at like how on target was it. It's like a big completion where the receiver did the most of the work. But a lot of the time with Magic and Love, these passes were absolutely laser targeted. They were in the perfect spot for them to catch and finish for the bucket. So I will go with Magic's, but I do think this was closer than maybe the seeding would show.
No, I actually agree with you, Matt. If I were to pick one upset in these first four, the 1 seeds and the 2 seeds, I would pick this one because of the degree of difficulty of Love hitting that full court outlet, the novelty of it. Because I'm not sure that Magic didn't invent the no look pass, right? I think he just sort of popularized it. Really, I think people were still no look passing before he did it.
If we really ask who had a better no look pass, Pete Maravich or Magic Johnson, and we dug in, Haize, I feel like that's going to be a tough one to decide between.
We'd have to go to the tape on that one. We'd literally have to go to the tape and do an in-depth one on that one. That'd be close.
And which one of these passes gave your team more of an advantage? I think there's a solid argument that it's the outlet pass after the defensive rebound.
Maybe, but Magic also made you look stupid in half-court defense, and that was pretty impressive too.
Okay, well, you voted 81-19. Let's quickly get the official vote from the host here. Haize, we'll start with you. I think you already locked it in for Magic's no look, right?
Yeah, Magic's no look.
And Matt?
Yeah, I'll give it to Magic.
All right, it's a clean sweep for Magic. He moves on. You commented, CJP1599 said, with Jokic doing it daily, we forget how impressive K-Love was with those full court passes years ago. All right, let's come back. We'll do one more 2 versus 15. Guess what? Michael Jordan, he finally shows up. His post fadeaway versus Paul Pierce's elbow jab fadeaway. And then the big fundamental, Tim Duncan's bank shot versus some white chocolate sauce. Jason Williams' elbow pass. I can't wait to dig into that conversation as well. That's all coming up on Locked On NBA. Thanks again for making Locked On NBA your first listen every day. We are continuing on in our tournament of moves, and Michael Jordan shows up as a 2 seed. I don't think he's going to be very happy about that, but it's his post fadeaway versus Paul Pierce's elbow jab fadeaway. MJ will be happy about this. His post fadeaway gets a 1 seed level vote from the YouTube fans. 91% of you to 9%. Give it to MJ and his post fadeaway. Haize, we'll start with you again because it's MJ. You cover the Bulls. I'm sure you watched a lot of it in your youth. MJ, that unstoppable fadeaway, set that up for us.
I mean, I think you just set it up perfectly. It was an unstoppable fadeaway. MJ's fadeaway gets the nod here because it's not only from the greatest player of all time, but it's one of the most unstoppable moves that we've ever seen in basketball. MJ's fadeaway was beautiful. I will say this: there are times that he went to it and he had no business shooting the fadeaway at all. He didn't need to shoot the fadeaway there. He just did it for style points. He was aura farming. I think I used that correctly. Shout out to my 19-year-old son. Yeah, there are some moments of that, but I think that just talks about how good that move was. The fact that he did use it to aura farm sometimes, 30 years before that phrase became a thing. So there you
go. Doug did a disservice here to Paul Pierce, that jab step really was killer.
It was.
Without illegal defense rules, what does that Jordan turnaround look like? Because it's probably getting blocked from behind a lot. Like, can we be real on that? That without the ability,
but the jab fadeaway too. Like, if we're going to do that, if we're going to talk about it with errors with the hand check, I think a lot of these moves aren't as effective either. If we're talking about that,
that's probably true. That's one reason maybe Steph, like, he deserves to be up there, right? Is because hand checking's not going to stop the relocation 3. But like, you do watch this and you're just like, where's the help? And you're like, oh, it's illegal defense. I can't really do it. And when they did send doubles, they were often late because Jordan did have a really good sense of how to space the floor and move away from it. Look, it's an iconic shot. And so it goes over here. It is kind of curious. I also kind of wonder with the athleticism now, like, could Victor Wembanyama block? Victor Wembanyama could block it, right?
Yeah, I mean, you think with that length, probably.
Yeah. But it is wild that in that era, you weren't ever going to see like Hakeem guarding him. You weren't ever going to see these guys guarding him. Putting bigs on Jordan might have been like an interesting wrinkle. Anyway, it's Jordan because it's Jordan, and that's an iconic shot. But I just want to bring up those points.
Well, no, I think it's an important point as we get further into this discussion because you're going to have some moves like this one. And I mean, you could look at the skyhook and say both of those moves are dead. But one of those moves in the skyhook, if someone did figure it out, I mean, if Victor Wembanyama figured it out, that would still be unstoppable. Whereas MJ's post fadeaway, I think defenses could possibly adjust to that. So I think it's going to be an interesting conversation as we get deeper into the tournament. All right, let's move to some 7-10 matchups with the rest of the time that we have here. Tim Duncan's bank shot is a 7 seed versus Jason Williams' elbow pass. Now, this pass is essentially a rondo fake, but instead of the ball coming back around, the opposite elbow hits the ball and passes it to a player, something that I really feel like Jason Williams only could do. And it was most famous, if you remember, in the 2000 Rising Stars game. This is where this pass maybe was first featured. And Jason Williams, in an interview, said that he practiced it 30,000 times and probably successfully hit it 3 times. But that's how iconic it is. Matt, set this matchup up for us.
So he's actually not the only guy. Halliburton pulled it off in an All-Star game.
Tribute.
Really?
Yeah. He did it in an All-Star game. Go look it up. It's in there.
Jason Williams, most overrated player.
Jason. It is interesting that this is like a one-time event in a Rising Stars game, but it is, and Doug's right to put it in here because it is that iconic and it's so cool, which is why I think it's hilarious that he put one of the most cool singular moves of all time versus the most boring, consistent shot. Doug's nodding like the fox.
I was thinking about this when I seen it. Yes.
And look, Duncan's bank shot gets sweeter with time to me. It is a fine wine. Like teaching my daughter, first thing I started working on her with was how to understand the geometry of those angles, about how to manipulate the glass, about how to get that ball to go in without needing the perfect shot. And Duncan's shot was perfect. There's a great clip on YouTube that kind of breaks down the jab step that he used to create separation because Duncan was such a force that he could get to the shoulder hook. So you had to guard that as opposed to Carmelo where you're just like, cool, you're jab stepping. Tim's was actually effective. And then every single time, the consistency and how quick it dropped, it wasn't like one of those like lofting bounce off the glass, right? It's just boom, every single time like a pool shot. Absolutely iconic. Tim Duncan goes over here.
Yeah, Tim Duncan definitely goes over. And the bank shot just sound like when you hear it, it sounds like the most boring thing in basketball. And like Tim Duncan was called the big fundamental for a reason. And you do appreciate, well, I appreciate his game more as I get older. Like when you just go and look at like how many things that he mastered that kind of could go unnoticed. And this was one of those things. The bank shot, it was perfect. The elbow pass is also an exciting play. I want to make sure that we give it its just due. It was exciting. It's beautiful and it's crazy to see, but Duncan's bank shot was just, it just went so far. It added so much to why he was so unstoppable. And so shout out to Tim Duncan, who deserves more and more love.
If in basketball availability is the best ability, maybe in this tournament repeatability is the best ability. Like the fact that Tim Duncan could really demoralize your defense with that bank shot. If he hit it multiple times, you're like, oh my God, what are we supposed to do? Okay, moving on. 7-10. Next 7-10 matchup here is another, I think, technique versus saucy matchup. You have Manu Ginobili's Eurostep versus Jamal Crawford's shake and bake maneuver with the 10 seed. By the way, the YouTube vote on that Duncan bank shot was 67-33. So it was a little closer. People respecting, as Haize wanted them to, respecting Jason Williams' elbow pass. And with this one, it was a little bit more extended for Manu's Eurostep, getting the YouTube vote 73-27. Haize, where do you fall on Ginobili's Eurostep versus Crawford's shake and bake maneuver?
This is going to probably be, if I'm not mistaken, the first time that I'm going to go against the grain here. Jamal Crawford shaking. Like, Manu's Eurostep is amazing. I think I even said on yesterday that it should have been higher than the 7 seed. And so this vote is probably going to be a bit surprising. Like, I understand why Manu's probably going to win this. Matt's going to probably vote is probably going to win. But Jamal Crawford's shake and bake was, in watching it, sometimes you had to catch it in slow motion to really realize how devastating that move was and how much it caught people, how much it took defenders off balance. So just for the love, I'm going to pick Jamal Crawford shake and bake here. It was more devastating than people are giving it credit for.
Okay. Let's hold for a second, because this could be the first time this happens in the tournament. We've got one vote for Manu's Euro, something that I think people would look at and say that's history there, an influence on the game. But then you have Jamal Crawford's crossover, which is, as somebody pointed out in the comments, is a Euro plus behind the back, hop step, lay in. And now we've got an opportunity for Matt Moore to upset the fan vote. Matt Moore, what say you?
Jamal Crawford shake and bake.
Oh, the big upset. All right, why?
Look. Manu again, like all those Spurs, like it ages like fine wine watching his game. I think the trouble is that I'm not sure it was the best Euro that we've seen. Like, he started the move and then he deserves credit for that, but it wasn't like the first and best. It was the first, and then I think Wade's is better. I think Harden's is better, and I actually think Donovan Mitchell's is better. So I can't really go that direction. Meanwhile, like, that shake and bake move was so exciting to watch live, and he was able to get so many guys with it. And it was not just like what I really hate in basketball are flash moves that aren't really about anything. They don't do anything. They're just kind of there. Like, I kind of mentioned this with like some of the no looks, and this is not saying like on Magic, because most of his no looks were practical. But there's a lot of no looks that are like, I'm looking this way. When like you've already beat the defense and the lane's open, like you're not actually using the no look to do anything. Right. But the shake and bake was different. Like, you could absolutely just cook guys. Crawford is honestly one of the most underrated. If we just talk about basketball players, not greatest, not most impactful, but we talk about skill level, that guy's up there for the best guys I've ever seen. And that shake and bake move was emblematic of it. Shake and bake goes over.
All right, the 10 seed upset. First upset of our tournament of moves, but I don't think it will be our last. You actually have an opportunity to still vote on these first round matchups. Just go to our YouTube page, youtube.com/@LockedOnNBA. Head over to the post section. And I will, today, in fact, I'm going to post the full tournament graphic and updated with the matchups that have moved on and the moves that have moved on so far. So check that out on our YouTube page. If you like what you heard today, subscribe to Locked On NBA wherever you get podcasts. That includes on YouTube. Thanks to Matt and Haize for their expertise and their voting every day. Thank you for making Locked On NBA your first listen. And until next time, be kind to each other. We'll see you right back here tomorrow on Locked On NBA.